Hey guys, just as I was actually finished recording a podcast, Check On My Cards came out with a very rare blog post and video updating some of the fees associated with their sites. So what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about that, and what you're going to get after I get done with this is you're going to get essentially a recorded show that I recorded before I even knew any of this information about Check Out My Cards. But I figured literally I had just stopped recording when this popped up, so this would be something I would want to talk about. And there's a lot here. You're gonna have to go to blog.checkoutmycards.com. He's got a video, Tim, and wow, this is an extensive change here at Check Out My Cards to their fees. As I'm going through this, I think there's some good things here that should help sellers and flippers and people, probably even sending some stuff in. This should help. So let me go through these things. Again, some of these points are little finer details, and you're going to want to check this out for yourself. But let me run through the highlights here. Okay, so some things are changing at Check Out My Cards. They want to reduce the overall commissions because what they want to do is get more people to send in mid-range, high-end cards, $50 cards, $100 cards on up. And with the 20% cash out, you just wouldn't want to do it. You just can't do it. You can't sell a $1,000 card on there and then get eaten for 20%, and then some on there. So here's what they're doing. First point, the 20% cash out fee is being replaced with a 10% cash out fee and a 5% transaction fee. So the transaction fee will be applied onto every single sale you as a seller right as it sells. So when it sells, similar to when you're running a promotion and Check Out My Cards, I think they take 3% off the top, like right when it sells, they take another 3% from you. This 5% will literally come off right off the top, right when a card sells, anytime, whether you're running a promotion or not. Any fucking card that you sell on Check Out My Cards, boom, 5% right at the top. So if you sell a $10 card, there's oh my god, 50 cents right off the top. So 50 cents gone, boom, you have $9.50. But your cash out fee is reduced to 10% instead of 20. So if you sold a $10 card, you normally would have got $8, whereas now you're going to get $9.50, and then 10% of $9.50 is you're going to get about $8.50. So you're going to get 50 cents more than you normally would. Okay? So that's good. So that's 1.1. Second thing they're going to do, so you normally, if you have the option, if you have it clicked on in your profile and settings on Check My Cards to sell on both eBay and Amazon, you get hit 20%. So if you sell a $100 card on Amazon, boom, you get hit 20%. And then you get hit for another 20% on the cash out fee. That's why it doesn't make sense to sell a $1,000 card on there. Because what if that card sells on eBay and now you're down to $800 and now you got to cash out? Now you're down to $640. I mean, you had a $1,000 card and now you've got $600. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So what he's going to do is he's going to replace that. And this was the most confusing part to me. This was definitely the most confusing part to me. What they're calling a traditional order premium. Okay, so if you sell something on Check My Cards through eBay and Amazon, it's going to go through they call it a traditional order premium. It's going to be 10% for a $5 item. No, wait. Okay. Traditional order premium will be 10% plus $5 for items with an asking price of $100 plus, and 15% for items with an asking price of less than $100. Okay, so instead of 20, it's going to be 15%. You're still going to get charged this 5% transaction fee though. So the fees for eBay and Amazon are not much lower unless you're selling the card, it looks like, for over $100. Because if you're selling it for over $100, you're only going to get hit for that 10% and that $5. So if you sell a card for exactly $5, I guess you're getting hit for exactly 15%. So you're saving 5% there. It's not bad. If you sell a card for $200, I guess you're getting hit for 20. You're only getting hit for 25. So on a $200 card that you sell through eBay and Amazon on Check Out My Cards, normally you would have got hit with 20% right off the top, boom, off that $200. So you would have lost $40. You would have been down to $160. Whereas now, if you sell that same $200 card, you're going to lose only $25. So instead of $40. So that's not bad. So the higher dollar you're going to sell your cards for, the more you're going to save and the better it is for you. Again, this whole program, why he's doing this is all to get more. He wants to be like eBay. He wants you to, pull a big card and don't put it on eBay. Send it to Check My Cards. Let him do it. Let him sell it so that you aren't getting charged as much. And he wants to give you the option to sell it on eBay and Amazon without getting hit, the double dip and the fees. Okay. So, again, let me run this down for you. Point 1, 20% cash out fee is being replaced with a 10% cash out fee and a 5% transaction fee. And that is on all sales. The 5% transaction fee will take place on all sales that go through the site right when they happen. Boom, instantaneous. They are changing the 20% eBay Amazon seller's commission to a more, whatever they called this, premium order, traditional order premium. So 10% plus $5 for items over 100. And 15% for items less than 100, okay? And point 3, let me go back to this. This is also a little confusing. Anything Check Out My Cards does is a little confusing. That's why I wanted to talk about it. A small enhanced security fee will be assessed to items listed for $50 or more. Now, I know there's something like if you list the card for $50, I think they charge you like 50 cents or something like that. And it's 1 cent a month. Any card you have priced over 75 cents on Check Out My Cards, you are charged 1 cent a month storage fees until it sells, or you price it not for sale, or it's gone, or you ship it to yourself, or whatever. Okay? Any card priced over 75 cents and above, you get charged 1 cent storage fees. Any cards under 75 cents, you don't get charged anything. That's why he's become the low-end king. That's why I flipped 150,000 cards, low-end cards with no fees. So what he's doing, let me digest this. Sorry, I digested this. Now I have to redigest this. Okay. Essentially what this is going to be, he's taking a 1 cent per $1,000 of total asking price per day. Again, that is very confusing. He says this amounts to 3 cents per month for a $100 item, or 30 cents per month for a $1,000 item. Again, normally this would have cost you 1 cent a month. So a 76-cent card would cost you 1 cent a month. A $7,600 card would cost you 1 cent a month right now on Check My Cards. That is changing. A card priced at 76 cents will cost you 1 cent a month. A card priced at $100 will cost you 3 cents a month. And a card priced at $1,000 will cost you 30 cents a month. Again, it is 1 cent per $1,000 of total asking price per day. Okay, that's how that is getting. Again, this is only for items priced above 50. Okay, this does not impact you if you're selling low-end items. You're still going to get charged that penny per month or whatever. So let me give you one quick example. If you cashed out, because I think I should do this. So let's say you had $1,000 on Check Out My Cards today, and you cashed out 20%, so you get an $800 deposit. Okay, boom, done. Now, let's say you cash out at the new rate, and now you can't. Now, last year, if you remember this, going a little bit of the weeds here. Last year, if you remember, one of my strategies was anticipating a cash out change from Check Out My Cards, selling all my cards, moving into cash to then capture a better cash out rate. That will not happen. You have to cycle your money through. If it's like a playthrough bonus. Anybody who's ever done online poker or played online gambling, you have to play through the money. If you have money in there, you're not going to get 10% cash out. You're going to have to play through this money, or you're going to have to wait till January 2020. That's what he says. He's going to retire it. So you could, in theory, leave cash or whatever into your account for a whole year and let it retire. And then yes, you are going to save money. Literally, if you just waited a year, you would save money. So old Check Out My Cards. You have $1,000 Check Out My Cards credit. You cash out for 20%, $800 deposit. New. So if you have $1,000 in new money, again, it's got to be new Check Out My Cards credit. Key point of distinction there. They're not going to let me cheat and give free money. So you're going to get again, remember, on that $1,000 in sales, you're going to get hit with a 5% transaction fee on every single dollar that goes through. So boom, $50 gone. Now you're down to $950. And again, it's a 10% cash out fee. So 10% of $950 is $95. That leaves you with an $855 deposit. So again, remember, originally, today, $1,000 minus 20% gets you to $800. The new Check Out My Cards cash out fee will get you, if you had $1,000, you would have $855. So $55 more. And I guess if you, in theory, you know, if you sold $1,000 card, it looks like you're going to get about $850. It's going to be there. You're going to get a couple more fees there. You're going to have that. What was it called? The premium. What was it called? Premium. Oh no, enhanced security fee. Remember, you got to have that. So lots of little nuanced fees here, and I guarantee you this is a prelude to them raising fees to submit cards. Because if they're going to take a little hair off the top here, which they've done, it looks like they've taken a little hair, you know the hair is going to come back on in some other way. So instead of 30 cents a card, they're going to charge you 35 cents a card. You know how that's going to work. You know how that's going to work. You can guarantee bet that that's going to happen. Okay, so that's what I got. That's what I've gathered from the Check Out My Cards recent announcement. New 5% transaction fee taken from all sellers at the point of sale. Boom, right when it happens. Your cash out fee starting in January is going to be reduced from 20 to 10 with new money. Your eBay and Amazon fees lowered to about 10 to 15% with a transaction fee. Cards priced over $100 will now cost 3 cents storage per month, was 1 cent. Excuse me. It's 1 cent per $1,000 price per day. So a $100 card will cost you 3 cents. A $1,000 card will cost you 30 cents. And another key thing is he mentioned, but just briefly within the article, is that an affiliate program is coming. Referral program, so you'll be able to refer your friends. I know my brother and I have made thousands of dollars on thousands upon thousands of dollars off the eBay affiliate program, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's exciting that there's possibly an affiliate program coming with Check Out My Cards, something we've been waiting for, and something very interesting, because if he does give a lucrative payout, you could literally set up websites that drive people to shop on Check Out My Cards. Not a lot of people know about this website. Not a lot of people, believe me, you think a lot of people know about it, but not a lot of people do. So if he starts to incentivize people to drive traffic to his website, you can guarantee bet that I might be involved with that. So that might be the most exciting thing, at least personally for me, in the blog post. And hopefully that is something that is coming, and it's a generous payout in the 10 to 20% range. And you can guarantee bet I will fucking sit here and pay to drive traffic to Check Out My Cards. I will literally take money out of my pocket to drive traffic to Check Out My Cards if I'm getting a cut on the sales. Getting a cut on your sales, not just my sales, your sales. That's how affiliate programs work. I drive you to Check Out My Cards. You buy something, I get a percentage of it. That sounds like a fucking whole lot better way to make money than anything else I've heard in the hobby. So I'll leave you with that. I'm not going to leave you with that. We got a whole nother show, but I just wanted to get this Check Out My Cards content in, and I hope you enjoy the topics and the rest of the stuff we'll talk about today. Thanks. What is up, everybody? Ryan from Sports Card Radio. That is right. We are back for another episode of the R-rated occasional sports card podcast, hosted, found exclusively on sportscardradio.com. Or I think if you go to the website, I haven't updated the podcast page in the last few episodes. So maybe I should do that, telling you to go to Sports Card Radio, and I haven't updated the latest episodes of the podcast. So maybe I should put that on the agenda. What is on the agenda for the show today? I've basically 3 things that I want to talk about. One is more of, I actually don't have an answer. I'm going to ask a question that I don't really have an answer to. I have been buying cards of basketball players the last several months that I've mentioned on the show a couple different times who I'm buying. You can check back in some previous episodes to see who I've been buying. So I've been buying a lot. You know, some of these guys I have over 100 cards. Some of them maybe more. Like Lonzo, I maybe have close to 200 cards. Ingram, maybe Brandon Ingram of the Lakers, maybe have a couple hundred cards. And something that I have literally thought about quite a bit, and I'm looking for help for other people who have flipped cards or bought cards or kind of have some experience doing this. And I just need some help kind of thinking out the buying process of buying guys. Like when I identify a guy I want to buy, what should I buy? And I've been thinking about that for many, many months. And I haven't brought it up on the podcast. So I kind of finally want to bring it up because I don't know if I really have the right answer. I think I have the right answer for me, but I don't know if I have the best answer, the right answer. So I want to kind of talk about it a little bit, give you a little example, and then maybe you can think about it in your own mind. And I'd love some feedback actually as well. Second topic, we often discuss PSA and Collector's Universe on the show. And I have stock. I'm looking to buy more. I almost pulled the trigger on another about 25 shares the other day, but I want to wait till it's under 14. I think it closed on Friday at 14.30. I think I'm in at like 13.30 or something like that. I really want to buy shares under $14, and I feel like I can. But they just had another conference call. I dug in and I actually found out some other information about PSA, some pretty interesting information. And so it has a little bit more to do with the coin side of the business, but I think it's all interrelated now with that company, or a little more, it's still one company. So, and really the stock price is driven by the coin business way more than the cards. I mean, the cards have exploded over the last something like 29 quarters. It's gone up. The business has gone up for PSA for the last 29 quarters. I mean, anybody who's tried to send anything in, we all know the backlog at Beckett and all this kind of stuff. So card business booming over at PSA, but the stock hasn't really exploded, and they've even had to cut their dividend. Again, something that I predicted several months before it happened on this show. They cut their dividend, and now it's an interesting company. They changed CEO. Joe Orlando, who ran the PSA card business for many years, is now the CEO of the entire business, Collector's Universe. So have a couple interesting little things that you're not going to hear. I guarantee you're not going to hear these anywhere else, these little tidbits about PSA anywhere else. And so unless you dug into like investor stuff about them. So some interesting details, and I'll bring those up. And and I've been to a couple more fall league baseball games. And I think on the last show I mentioned a few guys that I really liked. I found another guy that I liked too, so I'm going to give you guys a shout. His cards are pretty cheap right now. He doesn't have a lot of stuff, but some of his stuff should be pretty cheap and probably will remain cheap for a little bit, I would think. So I'll give you guys a shout, and maybe you guys take advantage of that. Hopefully he becomes a stud, and when we all make money off of him. Before that, I've just been captivated by the election stuff. I've really been captivated by this stuff since really 2015, 2016 when Trump first ran. To me it's so interesting. It's very interesting. And the engagement that's happening now with people, and I probably had one of the largest voter turnouts in midterm election history. I mean, on the whole, when you really look at it, total votes cast, it had to be one of the top of all time. I don't know for sure, but it had to be. Just from interest level alone, I feel like it had to be. Some of the things I notice, I pay a lot of attention to this stuff. I listen to the podcast, and I read stuff, and I read articles, and all this stuff. It really captivates me on a daily basis. I think it's fun to kind of keep track of this stuff. I think some people get overheated about it on both sides. Things I noticed, I think the hypocrisy really on both sides. I think Democrats and liberals, they often speak about how the divisive language Trump uses and how he's so bad and he says this thing. And then literally the next sentence out of these liberals' mouth and these Democrats' mouth will be literally to put down Trump or to put down Sarah Sanders or to put down somebody else in a disparaging way. Maybe they don't have the twinge of racism as occasionally you'll, there's very good people on both sides. And, there's certain dog whistles that you hear sometimes that maybe that's the language they're pointing to for Trump that is, quote, divisive. But I think calling somebody a motherfucking idiot or fucking, Trump has mental illness or whatever, disparaging things you want to say about Trump, to me, that's on par with, racist dog whistles to me. So I feel like there's hypocrisy on both sides. The Democrats and the liberals oftentimes will play the moral high ground, but literally the next sentence out of their mouth will be to disparage somebody, will be to disparage somebody's looks, will be to disparage somebody, the way they act, the way they talk, their education level. That's something I notice on a daily basis. And these are motherfuckers who were hosting podcasts and who were hosting news shows. Literally. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. The media's in love with themselves. Jim Acosta, April Ryan, Ben Shapiro, the podcast brothers, the Pod Save America guys. These guys are all in love with each other. These guys' egos are bigger than Trump's. Jim Acosta's ego is bigger than Trump. April Ryan's ego is bigger than Trump. Ben Shapiro's ego is twice as big as Donald Trump. These guys all love each other, and what they often forget is nobody gives a fuck about you except Ben Shapiro has his little fanboys that love him. Jim Acosta has his little fanboys that love him. Sports Card Radio has the little fanboys that love him. But on the whole, nobody gives a fuck about you guys in the media. And that's the one thing that I hate. It's like, just report the news. Ask questions. Don't fight. There's no need to fight with Trump. Even if he wants to fight with you, he probably does. And you guys are just fucking taking the bait. That's how stupid some of you guys are. Damn, CNN just has a bunch of idiots on that network. Like, these people, I don't know if they're even... Man, it's pretty easy to get a communications degree. Trust me, I have one. So it doesn't fucking take a lot to get a master's or a doctorate or a fucking PhD in fucking communication, which these people probably have. Trust me, it is pretty fucking... You want to get an easy degree? Go get a degree in communication. But on the positive, I think, as I was talking about, the engagement, and it all comes back to Donald Trump. If there was some other milky white Democrat as president, you wouldn't have this type of engagement. When Obama was president, you didn't have any engagement from Democrats. They lost all these like House seats and state seats and all this stuff. And what you did have engagement was from the Tea Party right, was from conservative right, fighting against Obamacare, fighting against Obama's policies and so forth. Those were the only people that were engaged when Obama was president, except for the election years. Literally, those were the only people that were engaged. Tea Party and aggrieved people on the right. That was it. And I feel like, at least with Trump, we have a country, for the first time maybe in my life, I think, that the entire country's engaged. Literally, the entire country's engaged. We're seeing a bunch of 50-50 races down to the nail-biting, finding votes out of this corner and this basket and this absentee and this military battle and all this shit. And I find it all incredibly interesting, and I think it's good. I think the engagement's good. I think engagement like this is better than the fucking Obama years where you only had some fringe groups that were literally engaged. Everybody else was fucking asleep at the wheel. So at least with Trump, I feel like one positive thing is we have full engagement on all sides. Fringe groups, Antifa, fucking everybody's engaged. So I think that could be long term. I think that's going to be a good thing for this country, and I'm super excited about it. And that's why I stay engaged and stay interested and learning and trying to flush out my views and stuff. So we should see a bunch more investigations. And say what you want. You know, unless you're a diehard Trump fan, who cares? This is entertainment. Like, we're going to literally have motherfuckers up in live TV under oath having to answer tough questions. Sign me up for that shit. God, that sounds like fucking entertainment. I don't care if it's Hillary or if it's fucking Don Jr. Doesn't matter to me. So to me, that is going to be the most interesting portion of the next 6 to 9 months before you really get into the 2020 election fever, which will start really soon here. But for the next 6 to, I think, 10 months, or really all of next year, you're going to have some really juicy investigations that I think are going to be fun for me personally, somebody who's engaged in this every day. Now I get to watch people under oath talk about shady shit that may or may not have happened. Oh, God, I can't fucking wait for that. So, and as somebody who pays a lot of money in federal tax every year, trust me, I live in Arizona now, so my state tax is going to get trimmed a little bit. I don't live in California anymore, but good Lord, the federal government doesn't fuck around when it comes to assessing techs on ticket scalpers. So my federal money, I would rather it go to investigations that I get to fucking partake in some way by watching this on TV while I'm sitting here doing work, as opposed to motherfuckers working on bills that will never fucking pass. Okay, we have a Democratic House of Representatives, and we have a Republican majority by several seats in the Senate, and also a vice president who can tie break anything. So even if you lost some of those motherfucking Republicans to a vote, you could still get the tiebreaker with Mike Pence. So nothing's going to get done except for things that have overwhelming bipartisanshipness, which I don't know, what that would be at this point on the ledger. So bottom line, bring on these fucking investigations. Good Lord, these should be really a lot of fun. And again, unless you're for some reason you're a diehard Donald Trump fan, I don't know why. Like, again, it'd be like if you're a diehard Obama fan. It's like, why? He worked for us. He works for you guys. Remember, these motherfuckers work for you. Donald Trump works for you. So, none of my employees, I ever fucking suck their dick. I guarantee you that. It was like, what are you going to do for me fucking today? Because I'm paying you. So, there you go. This is really exciting stuff. Hopefully you got out and voted. And don't listen to the media too much. They're a bunch of idiots. But it is fun to follow on a day-to-day basis. But let's get into this. I want to talk about sports cards. And this is what I need help with this. Because I don't know the high-end market as well as I do the low-end market. So let me give you an example. I've been buying a lot of De'Aaron Fox cards. He plays for the Sacramento Kings. He's in his second year. He was picked last year with Lonzo and Tatum and Donovan Mitchell. He had an okay year, but he plays in Sacramento. Team sucks. Nobody really, heard about him, knew about him, or really cared about him because there was all these other rookies tearing it up. But my brother really likes his game. I've seen him several times. I really like his game. So he's somebody that I've been buying. And I think the Kings have been playing really well this year to start, or better than previous years. And I think Fox has been playing well because his cards, you may not have noticed this, his cards have incrementally gone up. In some cases, quite a bit. And the one place you can notice this, if you don't have, you'd have to be following De'Aaron Fox to notice this kind of incremental uptick in his card values. But you can do this pretty easily on Checking My Cards. So all of the De'Aaron Fox cards I have are on Checking My Cards. I probably have about close to 100. And so I was buying all these De'Aaron Fox cards, and this will tie into the point I'm going to make. I was buying all these De'Aaron Fox cards for about $1 or less. I might step over and pay a few dollars for one or a parallel for one, but on average, these De'Aaron Fox cards are $1 or less. Sometimes quite a bit less. Some of them are only 25 cents or 30 cents or so. So I'm buying all these. So I had all these De'Aaron Fox cards, and they started going up a little bit. For example, like his Panini Prism 2017-18 base rookie card. You could get those pretty much all day from last season until he started going up a little bit, all day long for about $1 to $1.50 each. Maybe a little less, probably not more than $1.50. But you should be able to get, and when I say all day, you couldn't just keep getting hundreds and hundreds of them, but you should be able to pick these up for about $1 to $1.50. Well, these went up. I sold a couple for $4. And he also had some parallels that I bought for about 50, 60 cents that went up to about $3 or $4. And I sold a couple of those. So again, a little incremental value. It's cards that go from $1 to $4. Cards that go from 50 cents up to $3. So you're making a couple bucks there on these cards. And it's like, okay, this is cool. And this is something I've done over and over on Checking My Cards with just by flipping cards or doing the prospect game. A lot of times with baseball, I've done it very successfully with baseball. Aaron Judge, Corey Seager, Carlos Correa. I mean, you name the big name prospects that have come up in the last, several years. A lot of times I've seen these guys play before, either here at the fall league or in the minor league. So I've seen these guys come up and play, and I'd sit there and buy these cards. And then, Aaron Judge cards went from like 50 cents all the way up to like $10 in some cases. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was literally unbelievable. So again, I'm noticing this little incremental value jump in De'Aaron Fox. And I'm going to the Laker game tomorrow. In fact, I'm flying back to California to go to the Laker game. They're playing in Sacramento tomorrow. And it could be a coming out party for De'Aaron Fox. I would anticipate the Kings maybe being favored in that game, probably having a good game and maybe even winning. And De'Aaron Fox could have a really good game, and shoot, his cards could, go up right after beating the Lakers, maybe, if he has a coming out party game. So what I have thought about, though, for the last several months is, let's say, for example, I buy 100 De'Aaron Fox cards. Let's step it up a notch. I buy 500 De'Aaron Fox cards on Check Out My Cards. I spend all year, I buy 500 De'Aaron Fox cards, but I pay an average of $1 each. Okay? So I have 500 De'Aaron Fox cards. I paid $1 each. And so I got $500 in De'Aaron Fox cards. My question, and I've seen the increment of value go up on these cards. So I know that I'm buying these cards for an average of $1. I know that if he plays well and things go well, I'm going to be able to sell these cards for about $4 to $5 each. Okay, I've already done some of this already with Fox. Imagine if he blows up even further, or if people think of them as good as Donovan Mitchell, or as good as Tatum, or potentially as good as them. His cards are going to be worth that or a little bit more. So wow, I can maybe make, let's call it $3 to $4 on these 500. Let's call it $3 each on 500 cards that I paid $1 each for. That would mean I would make profit if I sold every single De'Aaron Fox cards and made $3 each on all 500 of them. That would be $1,500. My question, that would be really good. First of all, that would be really good to buy 500 De'Aaron Fox cards for $1 each and sell them all for $1,500. Or $1,500 profit. You sell them all for $4 each, theoretically, on average, make $2,000 minus your $500, now you're at $1,500 profit. So I made $1,500 on 500 De'Aaron Fox cards that I spent $500 on. What if I bought one $500 De'Aaron Fox card, like a really nice, and I don't know what that would be, what card that would be. What's his RPA National Treasures? Probably a lot more than 500. Might be a lot more than several thousand, honestly. So if I bought one really nice $500 De'Aaron Fox card, would it be worth $2,000? Probably not, right? Like, what De'Aaron Fox cards are worth several $1,000s? His RPA National Treasures? And some other rare cards? I think I've answered my own question. I feel like I've answered my own question because this is the way I prospect, guys. I don't go after the $500 card. I don't go after the $100 card. I go after the $1 card or the 25-cent card. I mean, I had Aaron Judge cards that I bought for 15 cents that sold for like $7. Now, granted, the Aaron Judge example may not be a very good example because you could have got Aaron Judge autographs for like $10, $20. And then what did those become worth? $1,000. And so I think in Aaron Judge's instance, it would have been better to maybe buy the $500 card. But then again, I don't know. Shit, if I had 500 Aaron Judge cards that I bought for $1 each, and they all went up $5 to $10, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's more than what high-end cards sell. So I think I'm answering my own question, but I would love some, as I'm talking through this, I would love some, if anybody else has thought about this. I mean, other people have had to think about this. Okay, I want to invest in De'Aaron Fox. Do I buy one or two really nice cards, or do I buy 500 fucking cheap cards? To me, my strategy has always been to buy the cheaper cards. It could be less risk that way. Like, even if De'Aaron Fox is never really good, are these cards that I paid $1 each for, maybe they're worth 25 cents each. Maybe they're worth 50 cents each. So maybe I lose half of my original investment, right? So maybe I'm only out $250. Whereas a $500 De'Aaron Fox, if he never becomes something, that card's going to be worth, $20 maybe. $30 maybe at most, if it's not a key card that people have to have. So that is, and I don't, it makes me wonder why people go after these big cards. So I mean, they're sexier, they're more exciting. And maybe they don't realize that you can do this on Check Out My Cards. You can stockpile a guy, as long as he doesn't blow up, as long as his trajectory isn't too fast, you know, you can stockpile baseball players who kind of languish in the minors for a few years. And yeah, they could be top prospects, but these motherfuckers are, you know, not top of mind and still have risk associated with them when they're playing in Double-A. I don't care how good they're playing. You can stockpile cards on Check Out My Cards for, you know, very affordable price. And then when these guys take off or do something good, all of a sudden, boom, you're sitting on a stock. Again, I've done this with baseball players countless times over. And I started to do it a little bit with basketball guys. It's a little harder to get these guys in volume, and you have to pay a little bit more for the cheap stuff to get basketball players in volume. I mean, I bought 120 Brandon Ingram cards, but man, that has taken me a little while to kind of accumulate those for what I want to pay. So that is something I've constantly thinking about because I want to keep doing this. I want to keep, you know, playing this little game here. And I think when you're doing it on Check Out My Cards, I still think the way to go is the cheap cards. Literally, I bought some De'Aaron Fox cards for $1 that I sold for $4. How much did his higher end stuff move? I feel like not to the degree that the lower stuff moved. But I don't really know. If you have thoughts, opinions, sportscardshow@gmail.com. You can text me 702-900-2149. Again, that number is 702-900-2149. Give me some examples. Give me some, hey, you could buy, you know, this guy's rookie card for $200 and look at what, you know, if you've done this before, let me know. Because I kind of want to, I don't, it doesn't take a lot of time to buy these cards. It's not a time it wouldn't be a time saver for me. It's just more of what's the optimal way to do this. Should I buy the RPA National Treasures, just gamble? If I'm gonna buy this motherfucker's cards anyway, should I just get the RPA National Treasures and just wait for it to go up? Or should I buy 500 fucking little donkey cards? That I don't know. I don't know. For right now, I think the least riskiest and what has worked for me is buy the cheap stuff. But again, I'd love to hear from you. Moving on. Collector's Universe. PSA, you may want to get your De'Aaron Fox cards graded by PSA. Well, so, you know, we always have a kind of an ongoing conversation about this company. I have shares of this company. I'm trying to buy more. So always keep that in mind when I'm talking about them. One thing that I found interesting. So Joe Orlando, the CEO of PSA and Collector's Universe, he was originally just the CEO of PSA, the card division. But then they got rid of the old guy. He retired or whatever, stepped down. And then Joe comes aboard several months ago. Maybe almost a year ago now, that Joe becomes CEO, takes over the company, and things have gone fairly well, I think, since he's come on board. Again, I can only follow the stock through its numbers and through kind of vicariously, but here's a little bit of information that you're not going to hear anywhere else. There was a board member. It was on the board, and I think he has 5% of the shares. So huge owner of the company, David Hall, who Joe Orlando fired. And there was some speculation that it was like a Me Too situation. There's some speculation that Joe Orlando just didn't like this motherfucker and kicked him out. And I think this guy started selling his shares. Now, here's the other kicker. Okay. So they fired this motherfucker who was on the board and worked for the company or whatever. And he was working in the coin division. He was working on the coin division. David Hall was. Okay. So that may be all well and good. But this is hysterical, actually. David Hall's brother happens to be one of the largest customers of Collector's Universe, the coin division. His brother grades over $2 million a year for the last 3 years in coins. $2 million in service fees grading coins. David Hall's brother, the guy that got fired. So there's been a little softness in the coin business. That's why the stock is a little kind of languishing, even though the broader market has done really well. Certainly better stocks to be in than Collector's Universe over the last 6 months. And maybe this has something to do with it. The firing of a guy who has 5% ownership, who also, his brother, according to one person, the $2 million that he spends in service fees, it's like 4% of the fucking take for Collector's Universe. So literally this guy's like 4% of the entire revenue of the company is the brother, comes from the brother. So it's just, it's unbelievable. So a little family feud, a little drama probably inside the boardrooms over at PSA. And even I noticed on my I had to fill out a ballot. They sent me a proxy ballot the other day. I had to fill in some board members because they've lost, I think, 2 or 3 now. So they 3 people, I think 3 people stepped up the board, including Hall. And is the brother scorned? Like, is the Hall family scorned? That's what I want to know. Before I buy any more shares, I want to know, is the Hall family scorned? Like, is the brother still dropping $2 million in service fees, in grading fees per year? Because if he is, I'll probably buy some more shares. If he's not, I think I'm going to wait until those numbers hit the book. But right now, the coin business is really soft, as soft as it's been in several years. Like, I think they're under their 2016 numbers. We're literally talking about 2-3 years. Like the coin business is really soft. So it's a good time if you've thought about buying this stock or getting involved. I hate to say this. I think it's a good time because they have a dividend that on the last conference call, the accountant guy was like, you know what? I think we've gotten to a point where we can sustain this dividend at 18 cents a quarter, because I think last quarter they made like 24 cents. There was a time there where they were paying out 36 cents a quarter in a dividend, but they were only making like 19 cents. So you figured out, so again, I'll break it down to you. Let's say you made, $100 a week, but you had to pay out $150. You're broke. You're going to be broke. So what was happening was PSA had like $20 million in cash like several years ago, and they keep having to whittle down this cash. And I think the cash is down to like $9 million or something because they've had to pay out this stupid dividend. That's why I predicted that they were going to have to cut this dividend because it just didn't make any sense. If you make $100 a week and then your bills are $150, what's going to fucking happen? So the PSA essentially cut their bills by cutting the dividend in half, and now they actually make money. And I think last quarter they actually padded their cash position a little bit, which has been leaking like a fucking a bad reliever coming in the 8th inning. I mean, their cash position literally had gone from 20 down to like 9, and I think last quarter they were to add like $1 million to it or something. And they have a line of credit now. They have a line of credit open. Like for a while, they didn't have no debt, no nothing. It was just a solid company. That's when the stock was in the 20s and shit. No debt, no nothing. Now they have a line of credit. Cash has been drained, $10 million. They had to cut the dividend in half. So this thing's, pretty beat down. Again, it's not a sexy stock. It's not a stock that you're going to fucking see on CNBC or MSNBC or anything like that. But I figure, God, people still are in love with grading stuff. So it's at 14.30 now. I like to buy when it's under 14. That's kind of my target right now. I really doubt with an 18-cent dividend, it's going to get much lower than 13. It just doesn't make any sense for it to go much lower than that. I mean, literally, at some point, people will come just to capture the dividend. I mean, the dividend literally props up the stock. If PSA had no dividend, like if they didn't pay out an 18-cent quarterly dividend, the stock might literally be like at $2, $3, $4, maybe. Literally, it's a small company. I don't care what the backlog is. It's a small company, very small company. Joe Orlando will tell you that to your face himself. It's a small company. Think of it that way when you're grading cards. These are not huge, giant conglomerates. Beckett and PSA, these are literally motherfuckers with like 15 graders or less working on cards or less. There's some group breakers, I think, that have fucking more employees than these fucking grading card companies. But okay, so yeah, that was my little take on PSA. Again, a little family drama. We have David Hall fired, big, huge owner of the company, and then his brother is one of the biggest, if not biggest, coin graders for the company. So, and there's been some suggestion that maybe David Hall split off and start his own coin grading company. That would be interesting. That would be really bad for the stock. Before we go too far down that road, why don't we move on? And we're 30 minutes in, another prospect that I really like. I've been going to a couple more Arizona Fall League games. We only got another, I think next week's the last week. We've got another week of games when we got the championship game at Scottsdale Stadium on Saturday night, I think. So I'm going to definitely go to that and check that out. So guy I've only seen a couple times, granted, but I really like him. His name is Cristian Pache. Christian is spelled weird, Cristian. Pache, Pache. He's a guy who came out of, I don't know, one of the Dominican Republic or something. Signed for $1 million a couple years, plays for the Atlanta Braves, center fielder. Looks the part, man. Looks the part in the uniform. I mean, this guy, you could put him next to major league players. You'd be like, oh, yep, looks like a major league baseball player. Looks the part. Center fielder is more athletic than he looks because he's kind of a strong guy. When I saw him, he was facing it was a Cubs pitcher that was throwing up a lot of like little sloppy breaking balls and shit and just like pitching backwards and stuff. So I was impressed that it was the first at bat that he like laid off all this junk. He laid off like 2-3 junky pitches and then boom, just like smacked a fastball just like right up the middle. Like he was just waiting, bam, hit fastball right at the middle. That was impressive. Because a couple guys had struck out on this little sloppy stuff, or at least swung at the little sloppy stuff that the Cubs guy was pitching. So it was like pitch recognition. Lay off the junky stuff. Fastball comes, boom, and he's like right on it. So I thought that was impressive. Second at bat, I think he worked it to like 2-1, or it was like 2-0, 2-0, 2-1, or 3-1. One hitter's count, and again, got another fastball from the same pitcher, and he just didn't get enough. He struck it to a warning trap. Deep center, though, like dead middle, like just dead red, boom. Right out to center field, warning track. Didn't get enough. Right when he hit it, I knew he didn't get enough, but he struck it well. Hard to get the ball out in center field in those ballparks unless you fucking just nut it. So I was impressed with that, and I was also impressed with, so we had a play, there was a runner. Where the fuck was the runner? Okay, so it was first and third. It was first and third with one out, so a RBI situation. And then so the ball gets struck out to like medium deep center, like definitely deep enough to score the guy. And Pache did a really nice, just fundamentally, just perfect. I think they call it like a circle. He circled it, was able to catch it, kind of charge it on the run, made a perfect, and I'm talking about perfect, fucking no hop throw to the cutoff man, which would have been like the first baseman or something. First baseman able to cut it off and actually get the guy. The guy was trying to stretch it into a double, the guy at first was tagging and trying to go to second while the guy from third was going home. So they were able to actually cut the throw off to home and get him out at second. So it was a strong throw from Pache. Very technically sound on the way he just circled. I don't know. You don't see that every day. Trust me, you go to enough minor league games, you see a lot of motherfuckers do stupid shit. Just not fundamental stuff. And this guy made very, very fundamental play there. Hit the cutoff man, and then the first baseman made a nice throw to second to get the out. But also it was the two at-bats. Just the discipline at the at-bats that I was impressed with. Just the slop, lay off the slop, and then boom, hit a single right at the middle. Lay off the slop, work it into a hitter's count, and then boom, literally probably be a quarter inch off a home run. Like he was literally probably like an eighth of an inch off hitting a home run off that ball in his second at-bat. So good player. I think he signed it for $1 million. I started to read about him after I was watching him. I think he signed for $1 million. He's played, I didn't look at his stats. I was just reading an article about him. Yeah, I think he's played above his level the last couple of years. So he's still a younger guy and he's playing against older competition. So I think he hasn't put up world beating numbers, but I think the game's starting to catch up with him. He's known for his hard work ethic. That's one thing in one of the articles I read, talking about his work ethic. Again, that was something that I saw, making the fundamental play in the outfield and just the plate discipline with the laying off the breaking stuff, which you don't see every day from a young hitter. So I was impressed. Plays for the Atlanta Braves. Cristian Pache. He's in 2018 Bowman. For some reason, his 2018 Bowman, I think, has the little first Bowman card on it. But motherfucker's in 2017 Bowman draft. So I don't want to begin with that. I don't even want to fucking begin with that. Oh, wow. What else was I going to talk about? Is that it? That's it. So that was the Sports Card Radio R-Rated podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm headed off to California to go watch the Leicas tomorrow and hang out with a little family before I come back here and then go back out there for Thanksgiving. So a little vacation, California. Check out the weather, the women, and the weed. So hopefully you're doing good, and we'll see you later.